Come up here? Nope. Not up there. Okay, dude. Let's see. Focus. Oh, excuse me. Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, where we like to read Riley, not take ourselves too seriously, have some fun with books, and today we're going to be talking about our August TBR. I also have an announcement to make towards the end of this video. It's a life announcement. If you're interested, hang around. If you're just here for the books, then great, because we're about to get right into it.
Fuck it.
As you know, or you may know, the way I do TBRs, it's just what I'm feeling at the moment. I may or may not read all of these in August. I probably will get to all of these eventually because I want to read them all, but I have quite a list here of books that I'm interested in, I'm intrigued by, I'm feeling in the mood for right now, and they're mostly thrillers. I'm not gonna lie, I've got one sci-fi, I've got one kind of murder mystery. Let's get into it. The very first book that I'll be finishing in August, I've already started, and that is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. In this story, we're following mother and daughter. The mother, Jack, is a vicar. Something has happened at her current parish, and the people have turned against her. So she basically gets transferred to this other church, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Her and her daughter are trying to fit in. This town that she ends up in has a really rich and disturbing history. Hundreds of years ago, in this town, they burned Protestants alive. I don't really quite understand. I think it was like a witch hunt type thing. There's a lot of ghosty vibes. There's a lot of themes of religion within this, and commentary and discussion about faith, generally speaking. Also, Jack has a very dark past, which we don't know about. I have no idea what it is. Also, 30 years ago in this town, two 15-year-old girls disappeared. Most recently, the vicar, who she is replacing in this small town, died by suicide. I think she's going to get her nose into places where it doesn't belong. She's going to start trying to investigate what happened with these girls, and it's going to come back and bite her in the ass. And so far, I'm kind of confused, but I know after reading Chalkman that C.J. Tudor is so good at weaving her storylines, and that all of these little things that seem random right now are definitely going to come through and be meaningful by the end of this story. The first line of Burning Girls is, "What kind of man am I?" Which I think is a really good first line. And I'm also buddy reading this with Colleen at Little Ghost Creations. So her and I are having fun little chats about it, and just very excited that I'm getting to collaborate with her in some way because I adore her channel. If you haven't checked her out, go check her out. I'll link her below. Little Ghost Creations. She's great. Okay, so the second book that I am thinking about getting into in August is called False Witness by Karen Slaughter. This is her newest. In this book, we're following Lee Colton. This is another story of women with a dark past, with a dark history. Current day, she is a defense attorney. She's worked very hard to have this unremarkable life. Her husband and her are divorced. It's been very civil. Her daughter is growing into a lovely young woman, and everything's kind of kosher. And then one day along comes this case that's the biggest case she's ever had the opportunity to work on. And it's defending this man who's accused of rape. And it's very high profile. She's excited. This could make her career. And then she meets this man and he looks familiar to her. And she realizes that she knows him. He is part of whatever dark past she has. So as we are going forward in the story, I assume we'll be learning what happened in her history, why it's connected to this man, and I think he's going to use whatever he knows against her to make sure that he gets away with this. I think he's going to probably put her in a position where she has to do things that are very unethical in order to get him off the hook, to get herself off the hook. So the premise sounds great. I'm very excited about it. Let's read the first line. The first line of this says, "Summer 1998. From the kitchen, Callie heard Trevor tapping his fingers on the aquarium." Okay, first line, not too bad. Also, getting all of these first lines from the audiobooks, so I'm just kind of guessing as to listening to the pauses to figure out if that's the end of the sentence or if it's you know, a comma, but that's just my best guess. So if it's not completely accurate, sorry. The next book I want to read, I actually own. Oh, Denny. Oh, buddy. Sorry. Sorry, bud. Okay, and this one is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Oh, he's chasing a fly now. I haven't gotten to this yet, and I feel like an ass because I need to read this. I know I'm gonna love it, and I just haven't started it yet. But hey, come here. Come on, leave that fly alone. Okay. Leave it. This dog. This is by the author of The Martian. I love his work. I know I will love this. We're following Ryland Grace. It says, a lone astronaut, an impossible mission, an ally he never imagined. So what happens is he wakes up in outer space. His other counterparts that are in the shuttle with him are dead. He has no memory of why he's there, what's going on, but we come to find out that he's been sent on a mission to a Hail Mary mission to save Earth and to save the world in general. As he starts to get his memory back, he starts to remember what's happening, and he realizes that now he's on his own. He has to do this all by himself. And then supposedly he comes in contact with an ally he never imagined, unexpected ally. Can you leave that fly alone? Super excited to get to this one. This is gonna be my only sci-fi for right now, for this month. Oh, chapter 1, first line. What's 2 + 2? Not the best first line, but I'm sure it's wonderful. Denny, come on, dude. The next book I am interested in reading is Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams. He wrote No Exit, and I've been hearing kind of mixed reviews about this book, but I'm still very interested in it. I think even if it's not the best thing ever, a lot of times after you have a really successful novel, the follow-up has so much expectation that in itself can kind of ruin your reading experience, because it just, even if it's just the slightest letdown, it's more impactful. So I think I'm still going to enjoy this book because I loved No Exit. I think even if it's not like a blow your socks off type of book, I think it's still going to be a fun ride. We're following Layne and what's her sister's name? Cambry. Layne and Cambry are twin sisters. Okay, so Cambry, I guess, jumped off of Hairpin Bridge. She leaves her sister this really weird note. It says, please forgive me, I couldn't live with it. Hopefully you can, Officer Reykjavik. Lena's like, who's Officer Reykjavik? What's going on here? And so she goes to interview this officer, and he seems really humble and like he is a good person, but his story isn't quite adding up. So the rest of the novel, she's just trying to figure out what actually happened to her sister. Did she actually die by suicide, or is something more sinister happening? And I guess the whole book takes place in a very short time period. So yeah, I'm very interested. The first line, Hairpin Bridge, this is Lena's perspective. It says, you look exactly like her, which I assume is in reference to her twin sister. So the next book I want to get to this month is They Never Learn by Layne Fargo. This one has been like really popular lately. A lot of people reading this, a lot of book clubs. I want to be able to go back and look at these live videos, watch these live discussions, and understand what's happening, because I've been putting it off. I know Kayla Books on Lala read it for her book club, and I had to skip on by that video because I hadn't read it yet, but I'm gonna get to it so I can go back and watch that. We're following Scarlett Clark, and she is an exceptional English professor, but she's even better at getting away with murder. So apparently this is like a very feminist novel. It's kind of like Dexter in a way, where she is murdering people on the school campus where she works at. She's murdering men who in her eyes deserve it, who have done something to deserve death, which personally I don't think there is something you can do to deserve death, but for the sake of the story, it's like a revenge type thing. It's a reaping what you sow type vibe. We're following her, and then we're also following a freshman at the school, Carly. She's just finally gotten away from her emotionally abusive father. She really wants to just focus on her school, fade into the background, but then her roommate she meets, Allison Hadley. She's really cool, she's confident, she is everything that Carly wishes that she can be. They form this friendship, but then Allison is sexually assaulted at a party. And Carly becomes obsessed with making the attacker pay. And I assume that Carly and Scarlett are going to come together on this quest to get back at this guy. I don't know, maybe she gets caught eventually. I don't know what happens. It sounds really interesting. The first line of this is Scarlett's perspective, so the teacher. I'll know it's working when he starts to scream. But for now, I wait. Sounds good. That is a good first line. The next book I'm interested in reading next month in August is A Familiar Sight by Brianna Labuskis. And this is coming out, I think it's released on August 1st. It's a duology. And it's kind of like, it's got a detective involved, which I don't typically like, but our main protagonist is Dr. Gretchen White. She is a psychologist, she's a criminologist, she specializes in antisocial behavior. She has helped this detective, Patrick Shaughnessy, to crack a bunch of cases. So he's kind of willing to overlook her own past in which she was accused of murdering her aunt. A new case comes to his desk. And he needs Gretchen to help him solve this because the case is involving this girl, a teenager named Viola, and she's accused of murdering her mother in this just really messed up way. They start to find out Viola's history, and she's got a lot of manipulation happening, and a lot of red flags are popping off here. But Gretchen thinks that maybe Viola didn't do this, and she believes her because she has this unique perspective of being a sociopath herself. She is going to be the one to be able to solve the case. But then we're also going to get some insight into Gretchen's past and what actually happened with her aunt. I think it's a dual timeline, and I'm very excited about it. And the first line of A Familiar Sight, and this is the prologue, it's from the perspective of someone named Reed, who I don't even know who that is. It says, the lace curtain created patterns of splattered light on the back of Reed Kent's hand as he held the wispy fabric away from the window, just far enough so that he had a clear view of the Porsche pulling up to the curb. Sounds interesting. The next book I want to read this month is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. This one just came out as well, and it's one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I'm super excited to get to it. We're following a teacher named Teddy Critcher at the Belmont Academy, which is this very prestigious school for top-level kids, just like the best of the best. He takes so much pride in developing these young minds and molding them into the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. This has got kind of a dark academia vibe. There's the death of a school parent, and Teddy just can't be bothered by this. It's getting in his way. Anything that gets in his way from accomplishing his task he's just not having it. Also, there are rumors that no one's heard from Teddy's wife in a long time. So what happened to his wife? What's going on there? I don't know, but I think he's going to be so obsessed with his plan and his goal that maybe he's willing to kill. I don't know. The first line of this is, entitlement has a particular stench, pungent, bitter, brutal. That's a great first line. The next book that I'm interested in is Pride and Premeditation. Who wrote this? This is by Tirzah Price. And it's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. It's going to be a mystery. So it's the same characters, but different setup. So Elizabeth Bennet is a lawyer. So there's a scandalous murder that shocks London. And Lizzie, and she seizes this opportunity to prove that she can solve this, that she can do this. It says, despite the interference of Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy, the stern young heir to the prestigious firm Pemberley Associates. Basically, he's an heir to his own law firm, so he's like a competing lawyer. Lizzie's convinced that the authorities have the wrong person for this on the hook, and she's determined to disprove it. She starts to have feelings for Darcy, as we all know is going to happen, but then she has to try to decide how important this case is to her, if her career is worth it, because it might get her killed. This should be interesting. I don't know that I've ever read a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but I've definitely been looking forward to this one, and it finally became available on Libby. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. And the first line of it is a truth universally acknowledged that a brilliant idea conceived and executed by a clever young woman must be claimed by a man. Excellent first line. I have 2 left, and neither of which are released yet, so I don't have the first lines for them, but the first of which is Bullet Train by Kotaro Isaka. Yeah, that's right. Bullet Train by Kotaro Isaka. This book came out, it's been out for 10 years in Japan and just never got translated. And so it's finally been translated, and I think it's coming out on August 3rd. Basically, it's an action thriller. So we're following 5 different assassins in this, and they all have one goal, and they're all on the same bullet train plummeting through Tokyo. So they each have their own assignment, but then they discover their assignments are intertwined. And I think they maybe are supposed to be killing each other, and one person's going to be left to get this prize money. There's like a suitcase of money on this train somewhere, something along those lines. It sounds really fast-paced. It sounds really interesting, and it's been just a hit over in Japan, and so I can't wait to read this one. And also, it is being made into a major motion picture starring Brad Pitt. It's also going to have Lady Gaga, Sandy Bullock, Masi Oka, who was Hiro Nakamura in Heroes, if you guys watched that show. Love Heroes. I miss it so much. Loved that show. That is going to be, I think they're already filming that. It's supposed to come out in April of 2022. It's directed by David Lettich. He also directed John Wick in 2014. He directed Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron in 2017. He also directed Deadpool 2 in 2018. So, and it's got an $85 million budget, so it's going to be great. So I definitely want to read this book. Just because I'm interested in it, but also because I'm going to want to watch the movie when it comes out too. The last book that I want to talk about today is called The Family Plot. I want to say this by Megan Collins, but I may have just made that name up. Megan Collins, yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is about a family that's obsessed with true crime. Every single one of them obsessed with true crime. They live in this mansion on an island. So we've got kind of a closed circle mystery situation happening. Each of them have their own little quirks, and this is part of the reason that I'm really interested in it, because not only has it the true crime, but like the way that their obsession is shown in each particular family member. It just seems really interesting. Like one of the sisters is obsessed with building little dioramas that are made out of crime scenes, like actual crime scenes, and make like a diorama, and that's where this picture is coming from on the cover. And I just love that. I love that. I want to do it. I think that'd be fun. But anyway, their father, the patriarch of the family, has died, and they're at his grave and putting him into the family burial plot when they find that there's already a body down there. They discover whose body that was, and then they have to figure out why that body is there. Who did it? How is it all connected? Is it a coincidence that this family is obsessed with true crime and then an actual murder occurs on their property in the middle of nowhere on a literal island? So like, it has to be one of them, right? So we've got a closed circle mystery, we've got true crime, we've got really fun, strange idiosyncrasies, and it just sounds like a blast. So have I read Megan Collins? Nope, never read this author. She's got 2 other books, The Winter Sister and Behind the Red Door. Interesting. Those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. So let's get on to my life announcement. You may have seen my vlogs of me carrying the mail and reading books and doing all that. Well, I am starting a new adventure. I've actually quit my job at the post office. So my plan is to go back to school. So I'm going to be able to do everything online and graduate from the same school I went to in Michigan many years ago and never finished. So I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm going to go back to work at somewhere eventually, but I'm going to take a month or 2 off and start school, get my act together, do all the things. So I'm just so excited. I wish the post office well, but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I put in 3 years, and it was a really hard decision to make, to let go of the benefits and the money and all of that. But I am so happy that I'm in a place in my life where I'm privileged enough that I have the opportunity to do this and to make a life-changing decision. And even though I'm going to be an older student, I'm just really excited to learn. I'm excited to be back in that space of learning. I really can't wait. I think the second time, obviously I have a different mindset. I'm going to go into this and just kill it. I'm going to kill it. That's my life announcement. If you're still here, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you like this kind of content, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the little bell if you want to be notified of my future videos. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for everyone that's hung in there and that has stayed subscribed, and I just appreciate you so much. I have so much fun with this channel, and I'm excited to keep it going. My readings, the way I read may end up changing a little bit with this new kind of lifestyle, but we'll see how it goes. I am determined to keep reading. There's too many books and there's not enough time. So let's do this thing. Cheers. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Goodbye.